Hello, everyone. I just wanted to say a cheers because it has come to my attention that today is June 6, 2018. Tomorrow, I will officially be on Wattpad for 2 years, and right now the followers is at 1,984 last time I checked. Now, to celebrate what's going on, and thank you to everybody, I actually came up with a list of, I got 12 of them, my personal tips on making fan fiction great. Okay, number one, no deleting characters. Now, mind you, in my DxD stories, there's some that don't have Russ Visa, but this is a character added later on. But it's different if I have Russ Visa in my story and no Zenobia. Different time period. Also, this is a hard one. My man Abyss out in Puerto Rico, my man. He wants to see if Stellan Vermillion is possible, and me and my friends are trying to nitpick it. And what's the easiest way to do it? Take out Iki, which I'm not willing to do that because I don't delete characters like that. Number two, pick a direction of where you want to go. So I kind of had it in. I think the best way to do this is Rias. Get into the house, character development for the character, getting feet wet and hands dirty with devil work, and then I'm just kind of like, okay, how do I put these two together? And it was an accident leading to an accidental kiss, which led them together, which is my most popular story, and I can't believe that it's actually working out like this. But hey, I just picked a direction and I stuck with it, and after it was them just, okay, keep the relationship quiet, then we are together, and then I'm like, I was stuck and I was sad, and I'm like, how do I keep this going? And I'm like, wait a minute, what if she got pregnant? Which is the first time outside of Misery, which I had a baby planned, which kind of changed me as a writer. Let's see, 3, don't kill off characters unless it's canon. For instance, I'm not gonna kill off. Let's go back to my Rosario vampire stories. The number one thing I think everyone was concerned about was which Mocha would survive. And some people are like, oh my god, one of them's going to die? Like, what's going on? What are you thinking? And I'm like, well, you kind of have to put that in consideration. And in canon manga, the outer Mocha is no longer with us, and she disappeared in the anime as well. But I wanted to keep them together to keep Blood and Breath 2 going on, which hopefully this summer is going to be when it started and published. Okay, 4, try to stick to the majority of personality. I say majority. There's some things you could get away with. For instance, characters aren't just going to well, I hope. Not just gonna spring themselves onto a guy, especially a person like Sona Citree, Ruby from Rosario. But I think a lot of times, I think the most I've been questioned on is Asia with the frying pan. But the thing is, it's not like bang, you dick. It's kind of like, it's cute. It's like, why'd you do this to me? You're a dick. You hurt me. That's the direction I'm going for. And then Graphia, but it kind of did in the sort because she didn't think that Rios' boyfriend was worthy enough for the family name, let alone marriage and a child with her. But she did eventually lighten up to him and say welcome. Okay. 5. No overpowering. It kind of gets boring. Like One Punch Man. If you could get knocked down one punch, no matter how ferocious or how tough the guy is, it eventually gets played out and it gets boring, and you need to build up the fight scene. If he falls down to a knee, it's great. It's okay for him to lose once in a while. It really is. There's been times where I've had a guy win a battle but technically lose. You gotta think about this sort of stuff. Overpowering just gets boring. Alright. 6. Don't use out-of-the-world elements. For instance, right? If I got a story that involves magic, I expect there to be a battle about magic. I'm not just going to say, hey, give my character a firearm. Bang! Okay, that took care of it later. Doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Or better yet, I see this too much, time travel. Gets a little played out, if you know what I mean. I've heard of some stuff, some good, some bad, but I just don't recommend it. But this is just me personally. If someone could blow my mind with this, then obviously go ahead, try and go for it. Don't rush love or affection. That's number 7. Like I said, a strong and tough woman like Sona Citri isn't going to be like, hey, hug me. She's the strong and silent type. Tsubaki the same. She's, the strong, independent woman that doesn't want to rely on anybody. It's okay to build up romance. It's one-shots, it's different, but if we're talking about a whole story in general, they don't just click like that. It always doesn't work like that. There's some that do, and there's sometimes where I've been guilty of this. There's been some stories where I've said, you know what? Let me see if this could, first chapter I go at it, or sometimes, a second chapter they're going out or whatever. There's sometimes I jump to it, but it's not the first paragraph where it's like, oh, I love you, or jump into my bed. 8. Stick to your roots and dialogue while still having fun. There's times where I like to follow the storyline. For instance, in Miro right now, I'm going to the arc where they find out she's a princess. Which is a spoiler if you're a manga lover. If you're not there. And if you just watch the anime, yeah, it's true and makes sense. Now, I'm not going the manga route just because I like to do something different. And if someone said, hey, I want to know more, and picks up a hard copy manga, I'm all for it. It supports the companies. I just like to do a little branch off and just give credit to the artists and creators that have worked so hard on it. Number 9, this kind of goes back to number 5 a little bit. Not every fight has to be won. You could lose. It's okay. And it helps with character development. It really does. It pays off. 10. A lot of you will disagree with me on this. And that's okay, because as an author, I'd love to exchange ideas and point of views with others. That being said, I think harem is overrated in fan fiction. It just is. And it's not because I've seen a lot of good or bad. I've seen some where it's worked. I'm not sure if it worked with me doing 2 from the board. Some will think otherwise. But there's some where I've seen, let's see, we take 4 girls, we'll take DxD. I know a guy who did this. He took Rias, Akino, Asuya, Koneko. 2 of them didn't have development with the character. Shower scene, whee! Porked them. Why? Doesn't go well. Doesn't make sense. And it's cliche for 4 girls to just want to say, oh, I want you to go down at me. Oh, have my baby. Or it's like, oh, or is it my turn? There's some times where it just gets blown out of proportion. Matsuru Mizume, in my opinion, did this farm arc, and I think a lot of harem animes are going this route. But there's some times where you just have to say, it's time to stop. Stop. Put the roadblock in front. No. Because you don't want to put too many girls in them. Give them a little screen time or, book development just to see them overcasted by the main couple members. It's just... the Monster Musume franchise I could honestly respect. But the farm arc, it honestly just seemed like cheap hentai to me. That's just it. And it's okay if you disagree with me. It's okay if you roast me. This is just my point of view, and I'd rather see more of, you know, Mia's mother, or the parents, or Miro's mother, the queen. I'd rather see more of that than just him being on a farm milking. Yeah, milking. I won't go into detail about that. Now, I've been asked about this for number 11. It is about style. How do you want me to do it? Now, I personally don't like script style where it's like, Issei, quote, action. Zenobia, action, quote, nar action. I don't like that personally, but it's okay. Now, I like to go for an action, ichi romance comedy. That's just what I try to do. I try and put in my own elements. My guy Omega over in Canada, he considered putting music in there. And I thought about it, and I kind of thought, like, cliche. And yeah, at first he's kind of like, hey, just be like, hey, why don't you play the YouTube and play the song while this scene's going on? And I'm like, wait a minute. What if I have the character or somebody else singing a song, and this actually got me interested into writing music? I don't think I could ever do it for a living or anything. I think it's just bizarre, but yeah, it's really gotten fun, and it's really gotten me a little bit more creative, get out of my comfort zone. And so far it's been working. Some people will question my taste in music, I'm sure, but I mean, music is such just a delicate topic to everyone, so it's kind of like whatever to me. And number 12. This is the last one. Let's see, this is, wow, 12 minutes long. Jesus. I think this goes for a lot. Now, mind you, I haven't scrapped the story yet. I haven't. I've never had a story where I've went X amount of chapters and just said, it's done, whatever. I did that one time where I put it on hold, and then someone told me, dude, it's been over a year, what's going on? And I'm like, okay, I have to finish this now. And I went into this deeply, and it was Levi from Fairy Tail. I got deeper into it, and I just had this idea where he finds out just originally what I want him to do: find the evil guild and put all to shame. It was a touching thing for me. I learned a lot of things from it, but it's different than just putting 10 chapters out there and saying, hey, buddy, I'm tearing up my notes, this is scrapped, whatever. Because it sucks, because you have all this development. One or two or more insert characters that you begin to like because we have to envision them in our mind, because they're not drawn out yet. They're not, in a manga or something we could watch to show the personality. This is something we gotta think of. And for 12 chapters later, those characters were just gonna be like, oh, what happens in the end? Do they do this? Does that happen? Wrong answer. I'm done. A solid ending, guys. And there's been some endings where I kind of double clutched. I thought twice. And there's some where I leave open for a season 2. There's some I do not. For instance, I think Love and Swing, I think, had the biggest one, simply because Mocha, Inner Mocha rather, it's Mocha and Akasha. Akasha being Outer Mocha. Mocha wanted to she goes, I have my own body now. And he goes, yes. And she goes, well, is it okay if we just move slowly? Because she hasn't had her own body for a whole week. It's just, could you imagine that? Just having, like, a pennant or something where it's just going to be like, okay, crap's in the fan, bye. Cling. Yeah, awful. But you have to get through these situations and you kind of have to adjust to this new lifestyle. And that, I think, is the biggest opening I've ever had. The other ones, I think, were Mizure, Akino, and Rias. Rias probably the one that was most demanded, especially since everyone voted on the kid's name. So that was probably the biggest thing for everybody. And yeah, Raven was the popular vote, and Judge Raven Gremory is boss. Really is. But yes, guys, solid ending. Because it gets the icing on the cake. Sometimes it makes you want to cry. It makes something worthwhile. And at the end, as a writer, you look at all of it, you see all the chapters on the screen done, and you're like, you know what? I created something I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in. And it's different when you're in a video game and there's a save file that says 100%. Because, you know, it's different because the weapons in there are designed by somebody else. You know, you could have used cheat codes, you could have went to YouTube and watched a playthrough. It's nice when these things are already designed for you to do and have fun, but then there's, I'm going to take something, I'm going to create something and build it from the bottom all the way to the top, put some oomph to it, and create it mine. Doesn't matter if it's fan fiction or it doesn't matter if it's an original. You created something. You created a thing of beauty for people to enjoy. And me personally, I have a lot of people on my end that I write for who are suffering from mental disorders, just need a little bit of confidence in their life, just need a boost to get their mind off something. And you know what, guys? Guess what? I care legitimately for all of you. I am so glad I am here to help, even though it was really unintentionally. I hope you all the best. I want all of you to smile, because everyone deserves that. I do this because I love it. And the fact that people are enjoying this a lot more than I originally expected is life-changing to me. That's why I'm here on my desk going through notes and putting hours and hours and hours into these stories. And I have the best audience to do it. Cheers to 2 years on Wattpad, and I hope to do 2 more. I'm going to do this as long as I can, guys. I love you all. Bye-bye.